Suleja.
I have joining me a security consultant, Darlington Umoru, for more perspective to this story. Good to have you join us.
My pleasure of being here.
So this is not the first time we're reporting jailbreak in the country, but some have said that this particular incident was avoidable. I want to get your reaction to this.
Well, it was avoidable, but I think government, this idea of not really updating and upgrading facilities and infrastructure is what has led to the collapse of that wall in Suleja. That facility, if you remember, was actually built by the colonial masters the same year Nigeria had its amalgamation. That's talking about 1914. You can imagine a structure that was put up in 1914 still standing in 2024. That's approximately how many years now? And so you should expect some measure of weakness in the structure. You should expect some measure of a decay. I think that decay largely for a correctional center, largely, I think the government has itself to blame for this particular jailbreak. It's not a jailbreak that is done by humans. There was no attack. It was just the rainstorm that brought down the walls and the facility of that Suleja medium jail.
To have 109 inmates still at large, what is the implication of that? What is the possibility of rearresting every single one of them?
It's difficult. The one we had in Abuja the last time, how many of them were recovered? How many of them were rearrested? So far, about 119 took off. They had the privilege and opportunity given to them by the rainstorm to vacate the facility, and only 14 of them have been rearrested. The other 105 are still at large. They will not only constitute menace to wherever they find themselves, they might even go back now, and if you have the criminal elements among them, to regroup with their cohorts outside. It will take the security agencies to collaborate and work together to actually get the data of those of them who are at large now before you can be able to make a proper arrest. Do we have the photographs of all of them? That's one big question. We had that issue when we had, what's the name now in Abuja?
Kuje Correctional Center.
Correctional Center. The Correctional Center was unable to actually provide photographs of most of those of them who were freed by the hoodlums from that facility. Do we really have the photograph?
Mr. Moru, if I may come in here, because it would seem as though the challenges still persist. We have moved from being a Nigerian prison system to Nigerian Correctional Service in 2019, but the challenges are still there. I was just listening to the minister say it's supposed to house, that this Suleja Custodial Center is supposed to house 250 inmates and now housing about 499 inmates. What sort of reforms should we be looking at right now to the correctional service? I think you're muted, Mr. Moru.
If you have had the privilege of visiting some of these correctional centers across the country, you will weep. That's a correctional center. The Suleja Correctional Center was meant to house 250 inmates. But as at the time of that incident, it had about 50%, about 100% increase. It had about 499 inmates, which meant that the place is overcrowded. Go to Ikoyi prisons, go to Kirikiri prisons, go to any one of them. We have this issue of these places being overcrowded. I'm sure even the Kuje prison is being overcrowded. It was just a mere change in nomenclature. You change from prisons to correctional facilities without actually upgrading these centers, bringing more buildings, bringing more facilities, and yet the courts will continue to, when these persons are prosecuted and are jailed, they are packed into these places and they are overpacked. Some of these places are not even good for human habitation. And you say these places are supposed to be places where these persons are supposed to be reformed. Rather, they get there and then get worsened. I think government should up its antics, just like the Minister for Interior Affairs has said. Some of these correctional centers should be relocated to places where, when there is an alarm, they can quickly get security help or security attention. Security agencies will be able to get to such places. Look at where Kuje Correctional Center is located. You can imagine what happened when we had that the jailbreak at Kuje Prison, Kuje Correctional Center. Pardon me, I'm still used to prisons. You can imagine what happened, how much it took before security agents could get to where the center was before to ask for even any rescue. I think government should begin to look at what the minister has suggested. Let it not just be words of mouth. Let it be that government will actually act. And then these persons that have been have gone into the society, the security
they're
agencies
recovered and recaptured. We're monitoring the story. We'll see how quick that is done and if everyone is recovered. Thank you so much for your time and your analysis. Security consultant Darlington Tomorrow. Always a pleasure to have you on.
My pleasure any day.